Welcome back. Tonight, we drift through the sleepy streets of Venice. So wherever you are, however your day has been, you have nothing to do now but rest. There are no twists tonight, nothing to follow, nothing you need to remember in the morning. A city of fading plaster and dark canals, growing still under the hazy lamplight. We'll drift slowly, in no hurry to be anywhere at all. If these journeys help you rest, you're welcome to follow along, but only if you'd like to. And if you're listening now, leave the name of your city and the time where you are. Wherever you're listening from, you're in good company tonight. So let yourself settle. Let your shoulders soften, and let your eyes close whenever they're ready. Breathe in slowly, and let it go. There's no need to stay awake for any of this. Just let the streets of Venice come to you. Before Venice existed as a city of stone, it began as an idea born of fear. As the Roman Empire crumbled, people from the mainland sought refuge from the successive waves of invaders that swept across the landscape. Their search for safety concluded here, within the unlikely sanctuary of the Lagoon, whose marshy islands were notoriously difficult to reach and therefore simple to defend. This was hardly an obvious location for a home, much less for the foundations of a future city. The first arrivals constructed simple wooden huts on stilts, perched above the mud and water, having arrived in small boats with whatever meager possessions they could carry. This settlement was not a product of ambition, but rather a response to a profound need for sanctuary from the collapsing world outside. The first Venetians were, above all, survivors, learning to adapt to a challenging landscape of salt and mist, a place that no one else had ever truly wanted. The very existence of Venice was never guaranteed, as the lagoon that offered protection also threatened to consume itself. Two major rivers, the Brenta and the Sile, flowed from the mountains, carrying with them a constant burden of silt that was slowly filling the basin and turning it into solid land. Had this process been allowed to continue, the city's essential water-bound defense would have vanished completely. In response, Venice made a monumental decision to wage a quiet, constant war against its own geography. Over the course of centuries, engineers embarked on a massive project to dig new channels and construct dikes, redirecting the rivers away from the lagoon entirely. This incredible feat of hydraulic engineering ensured that the lagoon would remain a lagoon, preserving the watery isolation that was so crucial for the city's survival. Venice was not merely built upon the water, it was sustained by actively holding the land at bay, a formative choice that would shape its destiny forever. The initial great wealth of the city was not derived from exotic spices or shimmering silks, but from a far simpler commodity that the lagoon offered in abundance: The shallow sun-drenched waters served as natural salt pans, where the evaporation of tidal water left behind a precious mineral residue. In an era before refrigeration, salt was as valuable as gold, essential for the preservation of food. The Venetians methodically harvested this white gold from their aquatic backyard, establishing a trade monopoly that funded the Republic's first significant steps toward greatness. This control over the salt trade financed the construction of ships and early buildings, granting Venice economic power long before the first treasures from the East arrived in its ports. The city's glittering future was ultimately built upon a foundation of simple, crystalline salt, a humble gift from the very waters that provided them shelter. If one could peer beneath the stone floors of Venice, a surprising and magnificent sight would be revealed: an entire inverted forest that holds the city aloft. To establish a solid base upon the soft, unstable mud of the lagoon, early builders drove millions of wooden piles deep into the ground, using alderwood, renowned for its natural resistance to water. Once submerged in the mud, these timbers were deprived of oxygen, which prevented them from rotting in the conventional sense. Instead, over the course of centuries, the constant immersion in mineral-rich water caused the wood to petrify, slowly hardening into a substance as durable as stone. This petrified forest created an incredibly strong and stable foundation, capable of supporting the immense weight of the marble palaces that were constructed above. The city, therefore, does not float on water, but stands firmly upon a hidden miracle of engineering and time. While the Grand Canal functions as the city's primary thoroughfare, it was never intentionally designed or excavated by engineers. Instead, it follows the natural, winding course of an ancient river that meandered through these marshy islands on its way to the sea, long before people sought refuge here. The first settlers logically built their homes along its higher, more stable banks, allowing the city to grow organically around this central waterway. This natural origin is the reason for its graceful serpentine curve, which feels so unlike a man-made construction precisely because it isn't one. The canal's gentle S-shape is a lingering memory of the landscape as it once was, a quiet reminder that Venice did not so much conquer nature as it did adapt to it. The city's most famous artery is the ghost of a river, its ancient path still dictating the flow of life centuries after being absorbed into the urban fabric. In the early 13th century, Venice executed a bold and ruthless gamble that would forever alter its destiny. The Fourth Crusade, originally intended for Egypt, was cleverly diverted by the Venetians, who provided the ships and were owed a substantial debt. They persuaded the Crusaders to instead attack the Christian city of Constantinople, a major commercial rival. The subsequent sack of this great metropolis in 1204 was a brutal affair, but for Venice, it proved to be a decisive turning point. Ships returned to the lagoon, laden with unimaginable treasures, including gold, jewels, ancient statues, and sacred relics. This sudden and massive influx of wealth and art transformed Venice almost overnight, cementing its status as a formidable world power, and endowing it with the priceless artifacts that still adorn its churches and museums. The four famed bronze horses of St. Mark's Basilica are a prominent reminder of this calculated and highly profitable diversion. The primary source of Venice's prolonged naval supremacy was a remarkable complex known as the Arsenal. This was the city's shipyard, but it operated on a scale and with an efficiency unlike any other in the world at that time. It was, in effect, the first truly integrated factory, a marvel of industrial organization centuries ahead of its time. Thousands of workers, each with a specialized skill, labored on what was essentially a moving assembly line. A ship's hull would be floated down a canal within the complex, and at each station, different teams would systematically add masts, rigging, sails and armaments. This process was so refined and efficient that the Arsenale could reportedly produce a fully equipped warship from start to finish in a single day. This incredible capacity allowed Venice to build and maintain a massive fleet, thereby securing its dominion over Mediterranean trade routes. The shipyard was the powerful engine of the Republic, a symbol of its ingenuity, hidden behind high brick walls. Observing the edges of Venice, one notices a conspicuous absence. There are no great walls or fortified towers to protect the city from attack. For a republic of such immense wealth and power, this seems a strange omission. The truth is that Venice never required them, as its primary defense was the lagoon itself. The wide, shallow waters with their treacherous hidden sandbanks and intricate channels formed a natural moat that was nearly impossible for enemy fleets to navigate successfully. This unique geography profoundly shaped the city's character and psychology. Without the need for defensive walls, Venice could afford to be open to the sea, its grand palaces facing outward, with their facades meeting the water in a display of confidence. This fostered a culture of maritime openness rather than that of a fortified city looking inward. The lack of walls is a quiet testament to the power of the lagoon, the silent guardian that protected the Republic for 1,000 years. Venice often feels less like a single, unified city, and more like a collection of small, interconnected villages, a sensation rooted in its very formation. The city did not expand outward from a central point, but rather grew as a federation of over 100 separate islands, each settling and developing at its own pace. Typically, an island community would form around a church and a public square, or campo, which served as the heart of the neighborhood for markets, social gatherings, and drawing water from the local well. Each of these island parishes cultivated its own identity, with its own patron saint and a strong sense of local pride. The bridges that now stitch these individual communities into a larger whole were a later addition. Even today, as you wander from one campo to another, you can still feel the faint outlines of these original island villages, each with its own quiet, distinct center. In the late 13th century, the Venetian government issued a peculiar and transformative decree. All of the city's glassmakers were ordered to relocate their furnaces and workshops to the nearby island of Murano. The official reason provided for this forced move was public safety, as the risk of fire from the intensely hot furnaces posed a constant threat to the dense, largely wooden architecture of Venice. While this was a sensible precaution, the move also served a more strategic and clandestine purpose. By concentrating all the glassmakers on a single island, it became significantly easier to guard their valuable techniques. Venetian glass was a highly prized commodity, and its production methods were treated as a state secret. The relocation to Murano effectively created a beautiful prison, isolating the artisans and ensuring that the Republic could maintain its profitable monopoly on this delicate and mysterious craft for centuries to come. The arrival of the Black Death in 1348 was a devastating catastrophe for Venice, eradicating a vast portion of its population. Yet, paradoxically, this immense tragedy contributed to the city's future strength. In response to the plague, Venice established the world's first organized quarantine system, forcing suspect ships and crews to isolate for 40 days on a remote island named Lazaretto. This innovation in public health helped the city manage subsequent outbreaks more effectively. The plague also had a profound economic impact, as the massive loss of life concentrated wealth in the hands of the survivors. This newly consolidated capital, seeking outlets for investment and display, fueled a surge in art patronage and lavish construction projects. In this way, the immense loss of the plague paradoxically helped to fund the glorious art and architecture of the Venetian Renaissance, fostering a period of incredible cultural rebirth. For centuries, Venice's immense wealth was built upon its lucrative monopoly over the spice trade between the East and Europe. However, two pivotal events in the late 15th century initiated a long, slow decline of its commercial dominance. First, the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Empire in 1453 complicated overland trade routes. Then, more decisively, Vasco da Gama's discovery of a direct sea route to India around Africa in 1499 shattered the Venetian monopoly entirely. Spices could now reach European markets without passing through the Republic's ports. As its economic foundation began to crumble, Venice was compelled to reinvent itself over a long period. It gradually pivoted from being a global maritime power to becoming a European center for luxury goods, banking and culture. It transformed into a destination in itself, a place of pleasure and art, marking the beginning of its evolution into the city of tourism we know today. In 1797, a new and formidable power arrived in the Lagoon when Napoleon Bonaparte conquered the city, bringing an abrupt end to 1100 years of proud independence. The ancient Venetian Republic was formally dissolved. Napoleon viewed the city not as a living history to be preserved, but as a project to be re-engineered according to his own vision. He suppressed many of the city's powerful religious orders, confiscating their vast wealth and art collections. In his desire to create public spaces in a city that had very few, he ordered the demolition of medieval churches and convents at the city's eastern end. In their place he established the first public gardens, now home to the Biennale. His conquest represented a profound trauma for the city, marking the end of a unique political entity and ushering in an era of foreign rule and modernization that reshaped the very fabric of Venice. For more than a millennium, the only way to reach Venice was by boat, a reality that made the city an island both physically and psychologically separate from the mainland. This defining characteristic changed forever in 1846, with the construction of a railway bridge, which for the first time created a solid, physical link tethering Venice to the rest of Italy. The development was a profound shock to the city's identity. The arrival of the Iron Horse was seen by many as a violation, a noisy and graceless intrusion into a world of water and silence. However, it also marked the beginning of a new era, making it possible for people to visit Venice easily and in large numbers. This heralded the dawn of mass tourism, an industry that would come to define the city's modern economy and its most significant challenges. The bridge effectively ended Venice's splendid isolation for good. On November 4, 1966, a devastating combination of high tide, strong winds, and torrential rain produced a catastrophic flood. The water rose to an unprecedented level, submerging the entire city and turning St. Mark's Square into a deep, reflective lake. Water poured into homes, shops and palaces, destroying priceless art and ancient archives with immense and heartbreaking effect. Beyond the immediate damage, however, the flood served as a global wake-up call. The world watched in horror, and suddenly grasped that Venice was not eternal, but was in fact a fragile city, sinking, and in danger of being lost forever. The disaster galvanized a massive international response, with committees formed and funds raised around the world to aid in its preservation. This global effort to save Venice, born from the trauma of that day, continues to this very moment, in a constant battle against the encroaching sea. In 1516, Venice made a decision that would resonate throughout European history, when its government ordered the city's Jewish population to reside in one specific area. The chosen site was a small island in the Cannaregio district, which had been the location of an old copper foundry, or ghetto, in the local dialect. This became the world's first ghetto. The area was sealed off at night, with its gates guarded by Christians to enforce the segregation. While undeniably a discriminatory measure, it was also a pragmatic solution for the time, allowing the Jewish community, whose economic skills were valued, to remain in Venice, while being kept separate from the Christian population. The ghetto evolved into a vibrant, densely packed world of its own, becoming a place of great cultural and intellectual life, despite the walls that enclosed it. The word itself, born here, would later acquire a much darker and more tragic meaning. Geography is often destiny, and for Venice, this statement is particularly true. The city's strategic location at the very top of the Adriatic Sea positioned it as the perfect gateway between the markets of Europe and the riches of the East. Goods flowing from the Byzantine Empire and beyond had to pass through its ports on their way north, a geographic reality that shaped the city's entire history. Venice became not just a trading post, but a great filter and melting pot, where ideas, cultures, technologies, and people from different worlds met and mixed within its streets and canals. This legacy is still visible in the architecture, a distinct blend of Western and Eastern styles, and can even be tasted in its cuisine. Venice became a bridge between worlds, simply because of where it sat on the map, its destiny written by its place at the head of the sea. The Rialto district has served as the commercial heart of Venice for 1,000 years, and its location was no accident. The Grand Canal, the city's main artery, presented a major obstacle to movement, and for centuries no bridge spanned its waters, forcing people and goods to be ferried across. The city eventually decided to build a permanent crossing at the canal's narrowest and most stable point, which was the Rialto. The first bridge was a simple pontoon structure, later replaced by a wooden one, but its existence funneled all cross-canal traffic to this single spot. As a natural consequence, markets, banks and trading houses clustered around it, transforming the Rialto into the single most important commercial zone in the city. It became the vibrant, bustling hub of finance and trade, simply because it was, for a very long time, the only place to walk across the water. During the 20th century, Venice confronted a familiar problem: the threat of economic decline in a changing world. To remain relevant in the industrial age, the city made a desperate choice, supporting the creation of a massive industrial port on the mainland shore of the lagoon, known as Marghera. The hope was that these new factories and refineries would provide jobs and sustain the city's modern economy. However, this decision carried a devastating and unintended consequence. The industries at Marghera required vast amounts of fresh water, which they pumped directly from the aquifer deep beneath the lagoon. This extensive removal of groundwater caused the underlying land to compact and subside, resulting in the city of Venice itself sinking at a dramatically accelerated rate. The attempt to secure the city's economic future ended up exacerbating its greatest physical threat, a painful irony that complicates its modern story. As you walk through Venice, you may notice certain street names like Rio Terra, a name that tells a story of a buried past. The phrase translates to interred river or filled-in canal. During a period of modernization in the 19th century, a growing need for more pedestrian thoroughfares arose in the incredibly dense city. The chosen solution was to pave over many of the smaller, less crucial canals, filling them with earth and stone to transform them into solid ground. Today these streets look and feel like any other Venetian alley, lined with shops and homes, but beneath your feet, the original path of the water remains. You are often walking on top of a ghost canal, a hidden layer of the city's history, from a time when Venice chose to sacrifice some of its waterways for the convenience of solid land. For 1,000 years, Venice existed as a stable and independent republic, an incredible rarity in a Europe dominated by monarchs and feudal lords. The city's remarkable longevity was largely due to its unique and complex political structure. At its head was the doge, a leader elected for life, but whose power was far from absolute. He was constrained by an intricate web of councils and committees, each possessing its own specific authority. This system was a carefully designed series of checks and balances, created with the express purpose of preventing any one person or family from seizing absolute power and becoming a tyrant. Major decisions required broad consensus among the ruling class. While not democratic in a modern sense, this structure ensured remarkable stability, and prevented the internal conflicts that plagued so many other Italian city-states, allowing the Republic to endure for a millennium. As Venice's dominance in the lucrative spice trade began to fade, the city discovered a new way to assert itself as a global leader, by reinventing itself as the printing capital of Europe. Venetian printers became renowned for their exceptional quality and innovation, the most famous among them being Aldus Manutius. He conceived of a revolutionary idea, to create small, portable books that ordinary people could afford and carry with them, the ancestors of the modern paperback. To fit more words onto a single page and make the text more elegant, his print shop developed a new, slanted typeface that we still use today, and call italics. This combination of innovations made books more accessible than ever before, helping to democratize knowledge and spread the ideas of the Renaissance across the continent. Once again, Venice served as a gateway, this time not for spices but for information and learning, printed on paper and bound in leather. The first impression of Venice for any important visitor arriving by sea was a meticulously staged performance. The first thing they would behold was the stunning waterfront of St. Mark's Square, where the placement of the Doge's palace and the basilica at the water's edge was a masterful act of political theatre. This was the city's grand front door, and it was designed to inspire profound awe. The delicate pink and white diamond pattern of the palace, the glittering gold mosaics of the church, and the two tall columns guarding the entrance to the piazza, were all part of a deliberate display of wealth, power, and divine favor. It sent an unambiguous message to arriving ambassadors, merchants and rivals, you are entering a city of immense and unshakable importance. This magnificent facade was a statement, a performance designed to project an image of serene power before a visitor ever set foot on land. The loss of the island of Cyprus to the Ottoman Empire in 1570 was a painful military and economic blow to the Venetian Republic. Soon after, however, Venice had an opportunity to reclaim its pride. As a key member of a Christian alliance, the Venetian fleet played a crucial role in the decisive naval victory at the Battle of Lepanto in 1571. While the battle did little to reverse Venice's long-term strategic decline, the city's leaders masterfully spun the victory into a powerful myth of Venetian resilience and a divine triumph for Christianity. This narrative was incredibly important for the city's morale and self-image. The state commissioned enormous dramatic paintings of the battle from artists like Tintoretto and Veronese, which still fill the grand halls of the Doge's palace today. They stand as a testament to the power of storytelling, transforming a single victory into an enduring symbol of the Republic's undaunted spirit. Living within the lagoon necessitated a constant, unending struggle against the water, which was simultaneously the city's protector and its greatest threat. To manage this complex and vital relationship, the Venetian Republic created a special government body in the 16th century known as the Magistrato alle Acque, or the Water Magistrate. This powerful committee was granted complete authority over the lagoon and its delicate ecosystem, responsible for dredging channels, reinforcing islands, and managing the intricate flow of water. In many ways, it functioned as one of the world's earliest environmental protection agencies, its sole focus being the long-term survival of the city's unique environment. The existence of this body demonstrates how central the water was to Venetian consciousness. They understood that to save the city, they first had to save the lagoon, a task that continues today, in a new and more urgent form. Upon entering St. Mark's Basilica, you might perceive something unusual underfoot, as the vast and intricate floor is not perfectly flat. Over the course of many centuries, the soft ground beneath the church has settled unevenly, a process of subsidence that has imparted a gentle rolling quality to the magnificent mosaic pavement. The tiny, meticulously arranged marble tiles now form subtle waves and dips across the space, an undulation you can physically feel as you walk, like a soft rise and fall beneath your shoes. It is as if the solid stone floor is remembering the water it was built upon. The light catches these polished, uneven surfaces, highlighting the graceful curves. This beautiful imperfection serves as a quiet, physical record of the building's long history, a tangible connection to the unstable earth on which all of Venice rests. For most of its history, Venice possessed no natural source of fresh water, as the surrounding canals were salty and the islands themselves had no rivers. The city's very survival depended on an ingenious and largely hidden system. Buried beneath the stone pavement of many Venetian squares, or campi, lie enormous brick-lined cisterns, designed to store fresh water. Rainwater was carefully collected from the surrounding rooftops, and channeled through special drains into these subterranean chambers, where it was naturally filtered through layers of sand. In the center of the square, an ornate stone wellhead, known as a pozzo, provided public access to this precious resource. For centuries, this system was the only means for Venetians to obtain water for drinking and cooking. These beautiful wellheads are not merely decorative. They are the visible tips of a hidden, life-sustaining infrastructure buried just below the surface. The Doge's palace presents an architectural paradox, a building that appears to defy the very laws of gravity and conventional design. While most structures are designed with a heavy, solid base and progressively lighter upper floors, the palace is famously inverted. Its top two levels form a massive, solid-looking wall of pink and white patterned brickwork, which in turn rests upon two tiers of delicate, open-air arcades supported by slender columns. The visual effect is one of a top-heavy and precarious structure, yet this was a deliberate and deeply symbolic choice. The design was intended to represent the government of the Venetian Republic, with the heavy weight of the state, symbolized by the solid upper floors, resting upon the open and accessible support of its people and institutions, represented by the light, airy colonnades below. It is a building that eloquently tells a political story through its very structure. Tucked away within a quiet courtyard, one can discover one of Venice's most surprising and delightful architectural gems. The Scala Contarini del Borvolo is a tall, external spiral staircase that climbs the side of a palace like a stone vine. Its name, meaning, of the snail shell, perfectly describes its elegant, twisting form, a beautiful confection of brick and stone, composed of graceful arches spiraling towards the sky. Built in the 15th century by a wealthy noble family, it served no real practical purpose, as the palace was already equipped with internal stairs. Its sole function was to be seen and admired, a pure and extravagant display of wealth and status. It was a means for the Contarini family to showcase their immense fortune and sophisticated taste, and it remains a monument to a time when beauty and prestige were reason enough to build something so wonderfully unnecessary. The Bridge of Sighs is one of the most famous bridges in the world. Yet its romantic name is often misunderstood, as it is not a place for lovers. This enclosed white limestone bridge serves a grimly functional purpose. It connects the interrogation rooms in the Doge's palace to the Prigioni Nuove, the new prison. Its purpose was simply to move prisoners from their trial to their cell. The romantic name derives from a legend that grew during the 19th century, which held that convicted prisoners, walking across the bridge, would let out a final, mournful sigh. Through the bridge's small, stone-barred windows, they would catch their last glimpse of the beautiful Venetian lagoon, a final farewell to freedom. The view from inside is indeed beautiful, a small, perfect frame of water and sky, made all the more poignant by its somber history. Along a quiet canal in the Dorsoduro district, stands a building that appears strangely out of place in the Venetian landscape. The Square di San Travaso is one of the last remaining gondola repair yards in Venice, but with its dark wooden structure and steep roof, it looks more like a mountain chalet than a typical Venetian building. This is because its original builders were craftsmen from the Dolomite Mountains, a region famous for its timber and distinct architectural traditions. When they migrated to Venice to build boats, they brought their own building style with them, creating a small piece of the Alps transplanted to the lagoon. It remains a living workshop, where you can still see craftsmen using centuries-old techniques to build and repair the iconic black boats, an unexpected reminder of the diverse cultures that have contributed to the city's fabric. Every building in Venice is engaged in a constant battle with the corrosive salt of the lagoon, which can slowly disintegrate brickwork through a process of capillary action. To protect the city's palaces, builders employed a simple but brilliant solution. If you look at the base of any old Venetian building, just above the waterline, you will notice a distinct band of white stone. This is Istrian stone, a very dense and waterproof type of limestone, brought over from the nearby coast. This layer acts as a crucial damp-proof course, a barrier that stops the salt and moisture from the lagoon from being drawn up from the wooden foundations into the porous brick walls above. This simple but vital technique has saved the city's buildings from crumbling, and the ubiquitous white stone line is a fundamental part of Venice's structural DNA, a quiet hero in the city's fight for survival. The brightly striped poles that rise from the canals, known as pali, are an iconic part of the Venetian landscape. While they serve the practical purpose of mooring boats, their colorful patterns are not merely decorative, but a part of a complex visual code. The specific combination of colors and the spiral design can signify ownership. A noble family, for instance, might have a set of poles painted in the colors of their coat of arms, marking the water entrance to their palace. Public services also utilize this system, with a specific pattern indicating a water taxi stand, while another might be reserved for an ambulance or a police boat. They function as a form of communication, a way of organizing water traffic in a city that lacks conventional street signs. These elegant poles represent a beautiful and practical system, a silent language understood by every boatman in the lagoon. Venice's celebrated opera house is named La Fenice, which translates to the Phoenix, a name that has proven to be tragically and repeatedly appropriate. The theatre has a dramatic history of destruction and rebirth, having first burned down in 1836, before being swiftly rebuilt. Then, in 1996, a devastating fire, deliberately set by electricians, completely destroyed the beloved building, leaving only a charred and heartbreaking shell. In response, Venice resolved to bring it back, adhering to the motto, com'era, dov'era, as it was, where it was. Craftsmen used old photographs and historical plans to meticulously reconstruct every detail, from the gilded carvings to the plush red velvet seats. The phoenix rose from the ashes once again, a powerful and poignant symbol of the city's profound resilience and its deep, abiding love for art and beauty. The neighborhood known as the Ghetto Nuovo possesses a unique and noticeably crowded skyline. When Venice's Jewish population was confined to this small island in the 16th century, they were strictly forbidden from expanding their territory outwards. As the community grew, the only direction left to build was up, a necessity that resulted in some of the tallest residential buildings in all of Venice. Apartment blocks were constructed higher and higher, sometimes reaching 7 or 8 stories, which was highly unusual for the era. From the outside, one can still see the different stages of construction, with floors added on top of existing structures over the centuries. The buildings often lean against each other for support, creating a dense, vertical landscape that is a direct, physical result of the restrictions placed upon the community, a testament to their ingenuity in adapting to the confines of their island home. The grand archway that serves as the main gate to the Arsenale is flanked by 4 ancient and imposing lion statues. These lions are not of Venetian origin, they are spoils of war, taken from Greece as potent symbols of the Republic's maritime power. The largest and most famous of them once stood in the port of Piraeus, near Athens. If you look closely at its right shoulder, you can discern something strange and unexpected. Faint markings carved into the stone. These are not Greek or Latin letters, but are in fact runes, the script of the Vikings. It is believed they were carved in the 11th century by Scandinavian mercenaries, who were serving in Athens at the time, likely as a form of idle graffiti. It represents a strange and wonderful collision of histories, an ancient Greek lion, inscribed by Vikings, now standing watch over a Venetian shipyard. Looking out across the rooftops of Venice, one sees a forest of peculiar chimneys that bear little resemblance to typical designs. They possess a unique, wide, funnel-like shape, often topped with a heavy tile cap. This distinctive form was not merely a matter of style, but was a clever and crucial fire prevention device. In a city built largely of wood, a stray spark from a chimney could prove catastrophic. The flared shape of the Venetian chimney was designed to function as a spark arrestor, trapping any burning embers rising from the fire below. This gave them time to cool and extinguish before they could escape and land on a nearby wooden roof. These unusual structures are a key feature of the Venetian skyline, a silent, sculptural testament to the city's constant and necessary awareness of the danger of fire. On the southern edge of the city, facing the wide Giudecca Canal, lies a long, sun-drenched promenade known as the Zatta. It is one of the few genuinely wide-open spaces in Venice, a popular place for strolling and relaxing at waterfront cafes. The name itself, which means rafts, tells the story of its origin. For centuries, this was the specific location where enormous rafts of timber concluded their long journey from the mainland. Logs were felled in the mountains, tied together and floated down the rivers into the lagoon, arriving at this wide quay to be unloaded for use in construction and shipbuilding. The promenade was originally built to handle this heavy industry. Today the rafts are long gone, but the name remains as a quiet reminder that this peaceful, sunlit walkway was once a bustling industrial waterfront, the final destination for entire forests on their way to becoming the city. One of the most famous bookshops in Venice is not an ancient institution, but a wonderfully creative modern adaptation to a chronic problem. The Libreria Acqua Alta, or High Water Bookshop, faces a constant threat from the city's frequent floods. To protect its precious inventory, the owner devised a brilliantly eccentric solution. Instead of using traditional shelves for all of its stock, thousands of new and used books are stored in waterproof containers. Inside you will find them piled high in old bathtubs, waterproof bins, canoes, and even a full-sized gondola that sits in the middle of the shop. When the tide rises and water inevitably seeps into the store, the books simply float safely above the flood. It is a perfect example of modern Venetian ingenuity, a practical and whimsical response to the daily realities of living in a city that is slowly being claimed by the sea. Just a short boat ride from the bustling streets of Venice lies an island of profound peace and silence, known as San Michele, the city's cemetery. For centuries, Venetians buried their dead in churchyards, scattered throughout the city's parishes. However, during his occupation, Napoleon decreed that for hygienic reasons, all future burials must take place on this separate island. A high brick wall was constructed around its perimeter, enclosing it from the lagoon, and transforming it into a serene and beautiful city of the dead. Its grounds are laid out in neat, geometric sections, with tall cypress trees standing sentinel over rows of white marble tombs. To visit is to experience a different side of Venice, one of quiet contemplation, where the city's history is written not in palaces but in the names carved on stone, surrounded on all sides by the calm, grey water. When you arrive in Venice by train, you step out of the Santa Lucia station and into the magical world of the Grand Canal. While the station itself feels modern, a product of the 20th century, it sits on a site with a much older buried history. Before the station was built, this spot was occupied by the Church of Santa Lucia, a beautiful building with a facade designed by the great Renaissance architect Andrea Palladio. In 1861, however, to make way for the new railway terminal that would connect Venice to the mainland, the entire church was demolished. All that remains of it today is the name, as the station was named in honor of the church it replaced. So as you stand on the steps of the station, you are standing on top of a ghost, a buried layer of the city's sacred past that was sacrificed for the sake of progress. Along the Grand Canal stands a palace of breathtaking beauty, known as the Ca d'Oro, or House of Gold. Today, its facade is a delicate tracery of white marble, a masterpiece of Venetian Gothic architecture. But when it was constructed in the 15th century, it was even more spectacular. The facade was extravagantly decorated with shimmering gold leaf, while other details were painted in vibrant ultramarine blue, creating an almost impossibly beautiful sight, like a jewel box floating on the water. The precious gold leaf has long since been washed away by centuries of wind and rain, but the name remains as a memory of its former splendor. As you gaze at its intricate stone lacework, you can still imagine how it must have once looked, a true house of gold reflecting its glory in the canal below. Venetian palaces were designed to face two distinct worlds, the world of water and the world of land, and as such, most have two main entrances. The grandest of these was always the Porta d'Acqua, or water gate, which served as the formal reception for important guests arriving by boat. This entrance opened directly onto a canal, with steps leading down into the water. Inside, a grand hall called the Androne often led straight through the building to the second entrance, the Porta di Terra, or landor. This was the more functional entrance, used for daily foot traffic and connecting the palace to the city's labyrinthine network of narrow streets and squares. This dual entry system is fundamental to Venetian architecture, reflecting the city's dual nature as a place that is simultaneously a network of islands and a maze of pedestrian alleyways. For decades, Venice has been increasingly threatened by frequent and severe high tides, necessitating a defense system on a scale never before imagined. The solution is a project called MOSE, a massive and mostly invisible barrier. Lying silently on the seabed at the three inlets where the lagoon meets the Adriatic Sea, are 78 enormous hollow steel gates, completely hidden from view during normal weather. When a dangerously high tide is forecast, a simple process is initiated. Compressed air is pumped into the gates, forcing the water out. This makes them buoyant, causing them to pivot upwards on huge hinges and rise above the waves. Together, they form a temporary wall, holding back the sea and protecting the city from flooding. It is a monumental piece of hidden engineering, a 21st century solution to an ancient and escalating problem. Should you have the misfortune of needing a hospital in Venice, you will find yourself in one of the most beautiful buildings in the city. The Ospedale Civile, the main public hospital, is housed in the former Scuola Grande di San Marco. Scuola was a lay charitable fraternity, and this was one of the wealthiest, with its headquarters being a masterpiece of Renaissance architecture, its facade covered in stunning marble reliefs and intricate carvings. Today, this magnificent entrance serves as the main door to the hospital, where patients arrive by water ambulance, and doctors and nurses walk through its grand halls. It is a startling juxtaposition of past and present, where the building's original purpose of caring for the needy continues in a modern medical context. It is a place where art and healing coexist in a uniquely Venetian way, a hospital with the face of a palace. As you wander through the older, quieter parts of Venice, your eyes might catch small, curious stone discs embedded in the walls of buildings. These are called patere, circular reliefs usually made of marble that date back to the city's early Byzantine period. Many of them were brought back from the East as decorative spoils, often carved with images of animals both real and mythical, such as peacocks, eagles, lions or griffins. They were intended as more than just decoration, however, as these carvings were believed to function like talismans, placed on buildings to ward off evil spirits or bring good fortune. Today they are small, weathered fragments of the city's deep past, easily missed but quiet reminders of a time when magic and superstition were woven into the very stones of the city. The famous Leaning Tower of Pisa is not the only one in Italy, as Venice has several of its own. The most dramatic example is the bell tower, or campanile, of the Church of Santo Stefano, which leans at a noticeable angle, a fact made obvious by the straight lines of the building surrounding it. Like many other towers in the city, its tilt is a direct result of the ground upon which it is built. The subsoil of Venice is a soft mixture of mud, sand and clay, which makes for a very unstable foundation. Although driving piles deep into the mud helps, over centuries the immense weight of a tall stone tower can cause the ground to compact unevenly, resulting in a slow, gradual lean. These leaning towers are a visible reminder of the constant engineering challenge inherent in building a city of stone on a foundation of soft mud. St. Mark's Square is defined by the long, elegant buildings that frame its northern side, the Procurati Vecchi. For 500 years, this building served as the seat of the powerful procurators of St. Mark, the highest officials in the Republic after the Doge. Its endless series of arches presents a uniform and stately facade, but behind this orderly exterior, the building was a private world, completely closed to the public for half a millennium. Only recently has the building been opened, revealing what was hidden for so long, a complex network of offices, apartments, and hidden passageways. The recent restoration has opened up the top floor, offering a completely new and breathtaking perspective on the famous square below. It provides a rare chance to step inside a building that has been a silent witness to centuries of Venetian history. The Rialto Bridge is far more than a simple stone arch over the water. It is a heavy, complex structure supporting not only a wide walkway but also 2 rows of shops. To support this immense weight on the soft ground of the canal banks, the architect, Antonio da Ponte, devised an ingenious and practical solution for its foundation. In order to clear the site for the new stone bridge, many existing buildings had to be demolished. Instead of hauling away all the resulting debris, much of it was repurposed as fill. The foundations and internal chambers of the bridge were packed with this rubble, meaning the structure is not hollow, but is instead a solid, dense mass. Its strength comes in part from the recycled remains of the very buildings it replaced, causing it to stand on the ghosts of the neighborhood that came before it. In the southern lagoon lies an island that most Venetians consciously avoid, a place of dark memories named Poveglia. Its history is one of profound suffering, having first been used as a quarantine station for plague victims, a place where thousands were sent to die far from the city. Their bodies were burned and buried in mass graves, leading to the island's reputation as one of the most haunted places in the world. In the 20th century, its dark history continued with the construction of a mental hospital, which itself became the site of grim legends and rumored abuses. Today, the island is completely abandoned, its buildings decaying as nature slowly reclaims the land. It is a desolate, sorrowful place, a stark contrast to the beauty of Venice, and a reminder of the city's hidden chapters of pain. The true social heart of Venice can often be found within its Baccari, the small, traditional wine bars that are frequently crowded and full of life. It is here that Venetians practice a cherished daily ritual known as ombra et ghetto. The l'ombre, or four shadow, is a small glass of local wine, a name said to originate from wine sellers who kept their wares in the shadow of the St. Mark's bell tower. The ghetto is a small savory snack, similar to Spanish tapas, which might include tiny sandwiches, fried seafood, or meatballs on a toothpick. The ritual is simple and informal. You stand at the counter, order a glass and a bite, and enjoy a moment of conversation before heading home for dinner. It is a quick, unpretentious, and deeply Venetian way to connect with friends and neighbors, representing the living pulse of the city, a tradition served in a small glass. The first sound of a Venetian morning is often not birdsong or an alarm clock, but the distinctive rumble of rolling luggage. As dawn breaks over the quiet canals, the first travelers of the day begin their journey towards the train station or the airport. The sound of small plastic wheels clattering over ancient stone pavement, bumping up and down the stepped bridges, is a constant and familiar refrain. It has become the unofficial anthem of a city that has thrived on arrivals and departures for centuries. For locals, it is a familiar sound that signals the city is waking up, a reminder of the constant flow of people that defines modern Venice. This unique sound, echoing through the quiet alleys, is the rhythm of a place that is always in motion, a city that says goodbye and hello with every sunrise. In a city with no roads, even the most basic public services become complex logistical operations, and garbage collection in Venice is a daily naval exercise. Early each morning, sanitation workers push special, narrow handcarts through the labyrinthine alleys, collecting bags of trash and recycling from every doorstep. They then converge at designated points along the canals where specialized garbage boats are waiting. These boats are equipped with cranes that lift the large bins from the carts, empty them into an onboard compactor, and then move on to the next collection point. It is a carefully choreographed dance of land and water, a system perfected over time. This process is a vital part of the city's hidden rhythm, a daily operation that keeps the beautiful city clean, happening quietly while most visitors are still asleep. The bright orange glow of a spritz in a large wine glass has become a familiar sight around the world, but this now global phenomenon has its roots in Venetian ritual. Its story begins in the 19th century, during the Austrian occupation, when soldiers found the local Venetian wine to be much stronger than what they were accustomed to. To make it more palatable, they would ask bartenders to add a splash, or a spritzen in German, of soda water. This simple act of diluting the wine was the origin of the spritz. Over time, the recipe evolved to include bitter liqueurs like Aperol or Campari, which gave the drink its signature color and complex taste. What started as a soldier's practical request has become a beloved Venetian ritual, the quintessential drink for the late afternoon, a taste of local history in a glass. When the tide is predicted to be exceptionally high, a citywide warning system sounds across Venice. A series of sirens echoes through the alleys, a sound that all locals instinctively understand. The pattern of the tones is a code. A single long blast means the tide is rising, while a series of shorter, higher-pitched tones indicates the predicted height of the flood. One tone for 110 centimeters, two for 120, and so on. This is the signal for a familiar ritual to commence. Shopkeepers emerge to install metal barriers in their doorways, and residents pull on their colorful rubber boots, ready to wade through the inundated streets. For Venetians, this, acqua alta, or high water, is not a disaster, but a recurring inconvenience. The siren is simply the starting bell for a well-practiced routine, a calm and organized response to the inevitable rise of the sea. Every year in July, Venice celebrates the Festa del Redentore, a festival that marks the end of a terrible plague in the 16th century. The celebration culminates in one of the most spectacular fireworks displays in the world, but the real magic of the evening happens on the water. As dusk falls, hundreds of boats of all shapes and sizes fill the basin of St. Mark, decorated with lights and balloons. Families and friends lash their boats together, creating large floating platforms for dinner and conversation, sharing food and wine as they await the show. When the fireworks finally erupt over the lagoon, the sky is filled with breathtaking color and light, all of it reflected in the dark water below. It is a moment of profound collective joy, a city-wide party on the water that brings the entire community together under a canopy of exploding stars. Once a year, on November 21st, Venice performs a small, temporary miracle by constructing a bridge where none usually exists. This is for the Festa della Salute, another festival marking the end of a devastating plague. The city builds a temporary pontoon bridge that stretches across the Grand Canal, connecting the Santa Maria del Giglio Square to the magnificent Salute Church. For a few days, this bridge allows thousands of people to walk directly across the water, creating a pilgrimage route to the church, where Venetians go to light a candle and give thanks for the city's health. The procession is a steady, quiet stream of people of all ages, participating in a deeply felt local tradition. The act of walking where boats normally travel feels special, a brief and powerful change in the city's fundamental geography, all for a moment of shared gratitude. The Rialto market is the stomach of Venice, a role it has played for nearly 1,000 years. The rhythm of the market begins long before dawn, as fishermen arrive with the day's catch from the Lagoon and the Adriatic Sea, unloading crates of glistening fish and seafood onto the stone stalls. As the sun rises, the market comes alive, transforming into a theater of sound and motion. The rhythmic calls of fishmongers advertising their wares, the sharp thud of knives on marble slabs, and the friendly chatter of local shoppers greeting their favorite vendors, create a soundtrack that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. It is a place of vibrant, living history, a daily ritual that connects the city to the sea. To walk through the market in the morning is to experience the true, beating heart of Venice, a tradition as fresh as the fish on display. As a gondola glides through the narrow canals, you will often hear the gondolier let out a sharp, distinct call. Way. This is not a song or a performance for tourists, but a crucial and ancient part of navigating the city's watery maze. The canals of Venice are full of blind corners, where a gondolier cannot see what might be approaching from around the next bend. This vocal call serves as a vital warning signal, the gondola's equivalent of a horn, announcing its presence to unseen boatmen. Another gondolier, hearing the call, might shout back to acknowledge their position. This simple, human sound is an essential tool for safety in a city of silent, watery streets, a piece of oral tradition passed down through generations to ensure that the elegant boats can move through the labyrinth without collision. In the winter, Venice is often enveloped in a thick, damp fog, known locally as ghetto. When this fog descends, the city undergoes a profound transformation. The visible world shrinks to just a few feet in front of you, and palaces across the canal become faint, ghostly outlines in the mist. The entire rhythm of the city slows, and the usual noises are replaced by a muffled, eerie silence. In this disorienting world, the water buses, or vaporetti, must navigate by sound, emitting long, deep, mournful horn blasts, as they move through the fog. These sounds echo across the water, a lonely call and response between unseen vessels, creating a strange and beautiful soundscape. The Kygo changes the city from a visual spectacle into a place of sound and mystery, a different and more haunting kind of Venetian magic. One of Venice's most iconic dishes, sardine sour, is essentially history served on a plate. This sweet and sour preparation of sardines tells a story of the city's maritime past, born from the practical necessities of life at sea. Venetian sailors and fishermen needed a way to preserve food for their long voyages, and they discovered that by frying sardines and then marinating them with onions, vinegar, pine nuts and raisins, the fish would remain edible for an extended period. The vinegar acted as a preservative, while the sweetness of the onions and raisins balanced the flavor. What began as a practical sailor's meal has since become a beloved appetizer, a staple of every good Bacaro. To eat sardine sour is to taste a piece of Venetian history, the flavor of the sea, combined with the ingenuity of a people who lived their lives upon it. During the annual carnival, Venice transforms into a place of surreal and beautiful contradictions, where the fantastic becomes normal for a few weeks. The city fills with people in elaborate historical costumes and mysterious masks, creating a dreamlike atmosphere where past and present collide in strange and amusing ways. It is not uncommon to see a group of people dressed as 18th-century nobles, their faces hidden behind pristine white masks, all sitting together and checking their social media feeds. You might witness a character from a classical play, in full regalia, talking on a smartphone, while waiting for the next water bus. This seamless blend of the historical and the hypermodern is part of the unique charm of the contemporary carnival, a festival that lives in 2 centuries at once, a performance played out in the ancient streets of the city. To experience the true, quiet soul of Venice, one must stay awake long after the sun has set. After midnight, the city begins to empty as the day trippers catch the last train, and the tourist crowds finally thin and disappear. A profound silence falls over the canals and alleys, and in these late hours, the city seems to return to itself. The only sounds you are likely to hear are the gentle lapping of water against the stone foundations of buildings, and the soft slap of waves against a moored boat. In the distance, you might catch the low, steady hum of a late-night vaporetto, making its final run down the Grand Canal. This is the time when the city feels most authentic, a place of stone and water, of echoes and silence, a peaceful rhythm that rewards those patient enough to wait for it. The Regata Storica, held every September, is much more than a simple boat race. It is a magnificent, living painting, brought to life on the Grand Canal. The event commences with a spectacular historical procession, featuring dozens of brightly colored, 16th-century-style boats gliding down the canal. These are not simple gondolas, but ornate, multi-oared vessels called bisone, propelled by crews in historical costume. The parade reenacts the grand welcome given to Caterina Cornaro, the Queen of Cyprus, upon her arrival in Venice in 1489. It is a vibrant, noisy, and joyful spectacle that celebrates the city's rich maritime history and its unique rowing traditions. The water becomes a stage for a pageant of color and motion, a proud display of the pomp and glory of the old republic, a rhythm that connects the present day directly to the city's golden age. On the colorful island of Burano, a quiet and delicate art form is slowly fading into history. For centuries, Burano was renowned for its intricate, handmade lace, an incredibly complex and time-consuming craft that used only a needle and thread to create patterns of breathtaking fineness. At its peak, Burano lace was one of the most prized luxury goods in Europe, generating significant wealth for the Venetian Republic. Today, the rhythm of this craft has slowed to a near whisper. In a few small shops on the island, you can still find a handful of elderly women, often sitting by a window, patiently working the thread. They are among the last masters of a dying art. To watch their hands move with such practiced precision and grace is to witness the quiet, final beats of a once mighty tradition. Venice possesses a constant, gentle soundtrack provided by its many church bells. The city is divided into parishes, and each of the dozens of bell towers, or campanili, has its own set of bells, each with a unique tone, weight, and timbre. They do not all ring at once, but throughout the day they peal to mark the hour, to call people to Mass, or to celebrate a festival. Because they are not synchronized, their chimes overlap in the air. You might hear the deep toll of a bell in the distance, followed moments later by the lighter ring of a closer one. This creates a continuous, slightly chaotic and beautiful symphony across the city, a sound that has been part of the Venetian rhythm for centuries. It is a gentle and constant reminder of the sacred geography that underlies the city's structure. As dusk begins to fall, a subtle but significant shift occurs in the more residential parts of Venice, such as Castello or Cannaregio, where the evening passeggiata begins. This is the traditional Italian ritual of the evening stroll. As the air cools and the daytime crowds of tourists begin to thin, local residents emerge from their homes to walk slowly along the wider streets and squares. They greet their neighbors, stopping to chat while children play and elderly couples sit on benches. It is a time for the community to reclaim its public spaces. After a day of sharing their city with the world, this is the moment when Venice belongs to the Venetians again. It is a quiet, unhurried, and deeply social rhythm, a way of reconnecting with the neighborhood and enjoying the simple pleasure of a walk in their beautiful, now peaceful city. Coffee in Italy is a serious ritual, and in Venice, it has its own particular rhythm. The most common way to take it is un caffè al banco, a coffee at the bar. This is not a leisurely affair, but a quick, punctuating moment in the day. You walk into a Camca cafe, order a single strong shot of espresso, and drink it while standing at the polished wooden or marble counter, often in just 2 or 3 sips. The entire process might take only a minute or 2. It is a small, intense burst of energy and flavor, a moment of caffeinated punctuation, in the middle of a busy morning or afternoon. This efficient, social act is deeply ingrained in the daily life of the city, a small, affordable luxury that provides a tiny pause in the Venetian day. In a city of canals, a small private boat is not a luxury, but the equivalent of a family car. For many Venetians, a simple motorboat, often a traditional wooden sampierota, is an essential part of daily life, used for all the ordinary errands that people in other cities perform with an automobile. On a weekend, a family might take their boat over to the island of Lido for a day at the beach. If someone is moving to a new apartment, all their furniture and boxes will be loaded onto a boat. A trip to a market on another island becomes a simple grocery run across the water. These are not the sleek, polished vessels intended for tourists, but practical, workaday craft, often filled with shopping bags, tools, or the family dog. They are a sign of authentic Venetian life, a key to freedom and mobility in a city made of water. Every 2 years, a different kind of rhythm takes over Venice, as the city hosts the Biennale, the world's most famous contemporary art exhibition. For several months, the quiet public gardens, the Giardini, and the vast historic shipyard of the Arsenale are completely transformed. Their national pavilions and ancient brick halls are filled with challenging, beautiful, and sometimes baffling works of modern art from around the globe. This event draws a different kind of pilgrim to the city. Artists, curators, collectors, and art lovers arrive, seeking inspiration, debate, and cultural communion. The Biennale injects a surge of new, international energy into the ancient city, creating a fascinating dialogue between the very old and the very new. It is a temporary but powerful rhythm that redefines Venice as a center for contemporary culture, not just a museum of its past. One of the great pleasures of Venetian street food is the scartoso de fritto misto, a simple paper cone filled with a mixture of freshly fried seafood and vegetables. The scartoso is the perfect ambulatory meal, bought hot from a small frigitoria or fry shop, and eaten with a small wooden fork while strolling along a sunny fondamenta or canal side walkway. The mix might include tiny shrimp from the lagoon, calamari rings, small fish, and perhaps a few slices of fried polenta or vegetables. It is a delicious, informal, and deeply satisfying experience. The warm, salty crunch of the batter, the fresh taste of the seafood, and the view of the canal combine to create a perfect synthesis of flavors and atmosphere. It is a simple, joyful ritual, a taste of the lagoon served in a humble paper cone. For 11 days every late summer, a strange and surreal bubble of glamour materializes on the island of Lido, home to the Venice Film Festival, the oldest of its kind in the world. The quiet, beach town atmosphere of the Lido is utterly transformed as Hollywood stars and international directors arrive by sleek, private water taxis. They walk down red carpets, surrounded by the flash of cameras, just a short boat ride away from the ancient heart of Venice. This creates a surreal contrast between the timeless historic city and the fleeting high-fashion world of modern celebrity. For a short while the conversation is not of doges and republics, but of premieres and awards. It is a temporary high-energy rhythm that adds another complex layer to the city's identity, a brief and dazzling performance on the edge of the lagoon. There is a dish in Venice that appears as mysterious as the city's dark canals at night. Risotto al nero di seppia, a risotto made with the ink of the cuttlefish. The ink transforms the creamy rice into a shocking, glistening jet black, and its flavor is both unmistakable and unforgettable. It is the pure, concentrated taste of the sea, briny, savory, and deep, with a subtle richness that is difficult to describe. This dish is a perfect culinary expression of the lagoon itself, using a humble ingredient, the cuttlefish, which has been a staple of the local diet for centuries. The dramatic color and intense flavor make it an adventure for the palate. To eat this black risotto is to taste the very essence of Venice, dark, salty and full of profound hidden depths. It is not just a meal, it is an experience. Riding the vaporetto, or water bus, is an essential part of daily life in Venice, and while it can seem chaotic to a visitor, for locals it is a finely tuned skill. There is an unwritten dance to using this public transit system, beginning with knowing exactly where to stand on the crowded floating platform to be first on board. Once aboard, there is the art of finding a sliver of standing space with a good view, or knowing which seats are least exposed to the elements. The most important skill, however, is timing your move toward the exit, anticipating your stop, and weaving through the crowd to be ready the moment the boat docks. It is a rhythm of embarking, balancing, and disembarking, a constant flow of movement against the backdrop of the world's most beautiful commute, a daily ballet, performed by thousands. New Year's Eve in St. Mark's Square is not merely about fireworks, it is about a moment of shared intimacy in one of the world's grandest public spaces. As the final seconds of the old year tick away, a unique Venetian tradition unfolds. At the stroke of midnight, as the bells of the campanile begin to ring, the entire crowd participates in a mass public kiss. Thousands of couples, friends, and even strangers turn to each other for a kiss to welcome the new year, a moment of warmth and connection that serves as a brief collective gesture of love and hope. Immediately afterward, a spectacular fireworks display erupts over the lagoon, but the most memorable part is often that quiet, shared moment, a ritual that turns a vast, historic piazza into an intimate, open-air ballroom for just a few seconds. In a quiet corner of the San Polo district, one can find a small, unassuming bridge, bearing a rather surprising name, the Ponte delle Tette, which translates literally as the Bridge of Tits. This name is a curious relic from a peculiar chapter in Venetian social history, when this area functioned as the city's designated red light district in the 15th century. At the time, the government encouraged prostitutes to lean from the windows of buildings near this bridge, baring their breasts to entice male passers-by. This official policy was a form of state-sponsored temptation, allegedly enacted to curb a perceived wave of homosexuality among the populace. Today, the bridge itself is merely a simple stone crossing over a tranquil canal, and only its strange name remains as a faint echo of this bizarre and salacious piece of the city's social engineering. Attempting to find a specific address in Venice can be a bewildering and frustrating experience due to the city's famously chaotic house numbering system. Instead of numbering buildings sequentially along a single street, Venice is divided into 6 large districts, or sestieri, and the numbers run continuously through each entire district. This labyrinthine sequence winds through alleys, across squares and over canals, meaning that house number 50 might be located directly next to house number 2417. A tiny back alley could easily be home to address number 4785. The system, which grew organically rather than by grid-like logic, forces you to slow down and navigate the city like a true Venetian, by landmark and memory, not by numerical order. The word ghetto, now used around the world to describe a segregated neighborhood, was actually born in Venice, though its origin is industrial rather than ideological. In 1516, the city's Jewish residents were forcibly confined to a small, specific island that had previously been the site of the city's public copper foundry. In the Venetian dialect of the time, the word for a foundry was ghetto. Because many of the first residents were German-speaking Jews, their pronunciation softened the hard, gushe sound, and the area became known as the Camas Ghetto. The name of this one small island, tied to its industrial past, eventually became a global term for the confinement of a people, a powerful reminder of how a local, specific place can give a name to a universal and often painful human experience. For centuries, Venice was home to a fierce rivalry between two factions, the Castellani from the city's eastern districts, and the Nicolotti from the west. This long-standing rivalry was often settled through organized public brawls held at designated locations. One of the most famous spots was a bridge now known as the Ponte dei Pugni, the Fisti, a bridge of fists. At the time, the bridge had no railings, and the objective was simply to punch and knock your opponents into the canal below. These brawls were a popular and officially sanctioned spectacle. If you look closely at the top of the bridge today, you can still find physical evidence of this strange tradition. Set into the pavement are 4 marble footprints, which marked the starting positions for the fighters. They are a small, strange and permanent reminder of a time when civic disputes were settled with fists. The Italian word, ciao, is one of the most recognized greetings in the world, feeling casual, friendly, and distinctly modern. However, its origins lie in Venice, and its original meaning was far more formal and surprising. The word evolved from the Venetian phrase, "Ciao vostro," which translates literally to, "I am your slave," or, more politely, "I am your servant." It was once a respectful declaration, a promise of servitude to the person being greeted. Over time, the phrase was shortened to just "Sir Ciao," and eventually became the "ciao" we know today. It spread from Venice, throughout Italy, and then to the rest of the world, its meaning transforming completely along the way. What was once a pledge of submission has become one of the most relaxed and informal greetings imaginable, a linguistic journey that started in the canals of the Republic. The gondola is an enduring symbol of Venice, its sleek black form instantly recognizable around the globe. However, these iconic boats were not always black. In the past, wealthy Venetian nobles used their personal gondolas as ostentatious status symbols, competing with one another by decorating their boats in increasingly lavish and gaudy ways, with bright colors, rich fabrics, and gold trim. This competition became so extreme that the government felt compelled to intervene. In the 16th century, a sumptuary law was passed that mandated all gondolas, with a few exceptions for official ceremonies, must be painted a uniform black. The law was designed to curb this conspicuous consumption and impose a sense of sober equality on the canals. This is why today, the hundreds of gondolas that glide through the city share the same elegant funereal color, a legally enforced aesthetic born from a desire to regulate vanity. Venice is a city of stunning beauty and ingenious engineering, yet it holds a secret that many visitors never realize. The city lacks a comprehensive modern sewer system. For most of its history, and for many buildings still today, the city has relied on a much older and simpler method of waste disposal. Effluent from homes and palaces flows into a network of small stone tunnels called ghetto, which then empty directly into the canals. While this might sound unpleasant, the city's unique environment was designed to handle it. The lagoon experiences 2 high tides and 2 low tides every day, and this powerful tidal flow acts as a natural flushing system. Twice daily, the water in the canals is drawn out into the Adriatic Sea, and fresh seawater flows back in, cleansing the entire system by the rhythm of the ocean, a strange and ancient form of sanitation. In 1849, Venice was under a prolonged siege by Austrian forces, and the city was bombarded by artillery for weeks. While most of the damage from that time has long since been repaired, a small and violent souvenir from that conflict remains. If you walk to the Scuola Grande dei Carmini, a beautiful building in the Dorsoduro district, you can find a dark, round cannonball still visibly lodged in its brick and marble facade. It remains exactly where it struck, a stark punctuation mark on the elegant surface. No one has ever removed it, and it has been left there as a historical curiosity, a tangible piece of a dramatic moment in the city's past. It is a small, easily missed detail, a quiet but powerful reminder that this peaceful, beautiful city has also been a place of war and resistance. Just a few minutes by boat from the crowds of St. Mark's Square lies a tiny island of profound scholarship and tranquility, known as San Lazzaro degli Armeni. Since 1717, it has been the home of an Armenian Catholic monastery, which became a vital haven for Armenian culture and learning, a place of refuge and preservation. The monks here have amassed an incredible library, holding over 150,000 books and thousands of priceless illuminated manuscripts, making it one of the most important centers of Armenian culture in the world. The monastery's collection also contains a few surprises, including, among the ancient texts and religious art, a perfectly preserved, 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummy, complete with its sarcophagus. It is a quiet, scholarly oasis in the Lagoon, a small island protecting a vast treasure of knowledge from around the world. In the large, open space of Campo Santi Giovanni e Paolo, a magnificent equestrian statue stands on a high pedestal, depicting a powerful warrior on horseback. This is Bartolomeo Colleoni, a successful mercenary captain who served Venice in the 15th century. What is peculiar about this statue is that it is the only one of its kind in the entire city. The Venetian Republic had a strict, unwritten law that forbade the erection of statues of its own citizens in public squares, a policy born from the city's deep-seated fear of personality cults. The government did not want to glorify any single individual, fearing it could lead to tyranny. Because Colleoni was a foreigner, a hired soldier, an exception was made for him after he bequeathed his fortune to the Republic, on the condition that a statue be raised. The statue is a powerful work of art, but it is also a monument to the one rule the Republic was willing to bend for a price. Hidden within a dark, covered passageway known as the Sottoportego dei Prati, is a small and romantic secret. If you look closely at the brick wall, you will find a single red heart, the Raffa, Cuore di Pietra. It is made of brick, but its color and shape are slightly different from the others, clearly forming a perfect heart. A local legend claims that if a couple touches the heart together, their love will be granted for eternity. It is a small, easily missed detail, a piece of local folklore hidden in plain sight. Over the years, countless hands have touched the brick, wearing it smooth to the touch. It is a quiet, charming superstition, a place where the city's hard, ancient stone offers a promise of something soft and everlasting, a tiny monument to love hidden in the shadows. On a canal in the Cannaregio district stands a palace with a very strange and unexpected decoration. The Palazzo Mastelli is better known by its nickname, the Palazzo del Camello, or the Palace of the Camel. The name comes from a large, high-relief sculpture on its facade, which depicts a turbaned man leading a camel, a bizarre and unique sight in a city of lions and angels. The story holds that the palace was built by a wealthy merchant who had fled his home in the east, and had the camel, a symbol of his trading past, carved onto his new Venetian home, as a reminder of where he came from. Whether the story is true or not, the sculpture remains one of the city's most delightful oddities, an exotic and unexpected detail on an otherwise typical Gothic palace. 17th-century Venice was famous for its decadence, particularly during its long and wild carnival season, when gambling was a popular, if often illicit, pastime. In an effort to control and profit from this activity, the government opened the world's first public, state-sanctioned casino in 1638, known as the Ridotto. Housed in a wing of a palace, it was a place where nobles and courtesans, their identities concealed behind masks, could gamble for high stakes. The casino's primary purpose was to bring the city's rampant gambling under one roof, where it could be supervised, and more importantly, taxed. The Casino of Venice still exists today, albeit in a different location, and holds the title of the oldest operating casino in the world, a legacy of the city's pragmatic attempt to manage the wilder side of its own festive spirit. The island of Burano is famous for its brightly colored houses, but it is also known for its dramatically leaning bell tower. The campanile of the island's church tilts at such a pronounced angle that it has become more than just a local curiosity. For centuries it has served a practical purpose for sailors and fishermen navigating the complex and often foggy northern part of the lagoon. The tower's distinct tilt makes it an unmistakable landmark, acting as a navigational marker and a fixed point in the shifting landscape of water and marsh, far easier to spot from a distance than a perfectly vertical tower. In a strange twist of fate, the tower's structural flaw, a result of the soft ground beneath it, has accidentally made it a useful and beloved feature of the lagoon, a slightly crooked lighthouse guiding boats safely home. In the unique urban vocabulary of Venice, a paved path or alley is typically called a calle, while a wider, more important paved street is a salisada, and a street lined with shops is a ruga. However, there is only one thoroughfare in the entire city that is officially designated as a street, or strada, the Via Garibaldi. Located in the Castello district, it was created in the 19th century by filling in a canal. Its unusual width and straightness make it feel distinctly different from the typical narrow, winding Venetian alley, offering a rare opportunity to walk in a straight line for a considerable distance. This single unique designation is a small linguistic quirk, a reminder that in this city, even the names of things follow their own ancient and particular rules. The island of Torcello is where the story of Venice truly began. It was one of the first islands in the lagoon to be settled, and for a time, it was the most powerful and populated center of the entire region, a bustling city with palaces, churches, and thousands of inhabitants. Over the centuries, however, as the nearby island of Venice grew in importance, Torcello began a long decline. Malaria plagued the island, its canals silted up, and its population dwindled as people left for the ascendant Rialto. Today, Torcello is a quiet, green and mostly empty island, with a permanent population of fewer than 10 people. Yet it still holds two of the oldest and most important churches in the lagoon, filled with stunning Byzantine mosaics. It is a ghost of its former self, a melancholy and beautiful place that reminds you of the rise and fall of fortunes. On the island of Lido, known for its sandy beaches and the International Film Festival, there exists a small, quiet corner that holds a great deal of love. Tucked away from the main streets is a small and lovingly tended pet cemetery, where Venetians have been burying their beloved animal companions for decades. Here, you can wander among the tiny headstones reading heartfelt inscriptions for dogs and cats with names like Lola and Kate Pippo. You will find faded photographs, small offerings of fresh flowers, and even the grave of a beloved horse. It is a quiet, slightly wild garden that stands as a testament to the deep and enduring bond between people and their pets. It is a small, specific and deeply human place, a cemetery of devotion on the edge of the lagoon. In the middle of Campo Manin stands a proud statue of Daniele Manin, a hero of the 19th-century Venetian uprising against Austria. He stands in a defiant pose, but there is a subtle, rumored protest built into the statue's placement. Just off the square is the grand imposing building of the Bank of Italy, and the statue of Manin is positioned so that it pointedly turns its back on the financial institution. The story goes that this was a deliberate sculptural snub, as Manin was a man of the people, and a revolutionary. The placement of his statue was supposedly a quiet protest against the powerful financial institutions of the new Italian state. Whether intentional or not, it creates a small, satisfying piece of civic theater, the city's hero giving the cold shoulder to a symbol of national finance. When one thinks of a lighthouse, the image that usually comes to mind is a tower on a rocky coast, facing the open sea. The Murano Lighthouse, however, is different, as it stands deep within the calm waters of the Venetian lagoon, far from the Adriatic. Its location seems strange, but it serves a crucial purpose. The lagoon is mostly very shallow, but a few deep natural channels function as underwater highways that large ships must follow to reach the city's port. The Murano Lighthouse is a vital navigational aid for this internal system. Its bright light guides ships safely through the narrow, winding deep-water route, especially at night or in the fog. It is not a beacon for the open ocean, but a guide for the hidden, 'watery' roads that lead to the heart of Venice.
Venice.
The lagoon is mostly very shallow, but a few deep natural channels function as underwater highways that large ships must follow to reach the city's port. Its bright light guides ships safely through the narrow, winding deep-water route, especially at night or in the fog. It is not a beacon for the open ocean, but a guide for the hidden, 'watery' roads that lead to the heart of Venice. The Great Flood of 1966 was a deeply traumatic event in the city's modern history, when the water rose to a level never before seen, causing immense damage. Although the city has mostly recovered and the memory of that day is fading, you can still find small, sobering reminders if you know where to look. On a wall near the Rialto Bridge, there is a small, easily missed metal plaque. It is a simple marker, engraved with the date of the flood, and a single horizontal line indicating the terrifying high water mark from that day. The line is far above your head, far above the normal level of the canal, and it serves as a discreet but powerful reminder of the city's profound fragility. It shows just how vulnerable Venice is to the power of the sea, a quiet warning etched in metal. The Venetian lagoon is dotted with dozens of islands, each with its own unique story. One of the most peaceful is San Francesco del Deserto, the island of St. Francis of the Desert. According to tradition, St. Francis himself landed here in 1220 on his return from the East, and a few years later, a small community of Franciscan friars established a monastery on the island. They have been here ever since. For nearly 800 years, this island has been continuously inhabited by a small group of friars, making it an oasis of tranquility, just minutes by boat from the bustle of Venice. The island is a lush garden of cypress trees and flowers, filled with the sound of birdsong, a place of quiet prayer and contemplation, and a small, unbroken thread of spiritual life in the lagoon. In a small square called Campo San Boldo, a strange and grotesque face carved in stone can be found under a window, its expression one of shock and anguish. Local legend tells the story of a greedy merchant who lived here, and was known for cheating his customers. One day, he cheated a woman who turned out to be a witch, and as punishment, she turned him to stone, his face frozen in a permanent scream. The legend adds another detail. The merchant was also a terrible liar, and it is said that if you tell a lie while standing near the stone face, its nose will grow, just like Pinocchio's. It is a dark and whimsical piece of folklore, a cautionary tale about greed and dishonesty, carved into the wall of a quiet residential square for all to see. Marco Polo is perhaps the most famous Venetian who ever lived, his incredible journey to China and back having opened up the world. One might expect to find a grand monument or museum dedicated to him in his home city, but the physical traces of his life are surprisingly humble. It is believed that his family home once stood in a courtyard, now known as the Corte Seconda del Milione, named after his book, The Travels of Marco Polo. All that is said to remain of the original structure is a single, simple stone archway, now part of a later building. This unassuming arch is thought to be the last surviving fragment of the Polo family home, a modest and easily overlooked relic. It is a quiet and poignant connection to the world's most famous traveler, a humble stone doorway that once led to a world of adventure. Venice has its share of dark and gruesome legends, and one of the most chilling is the story of a butcher named Biasio. In the 16th century, he had a shop near the Rialto, where he was famous for his delicious sausages. The legend claims that his secret ingredient was human flesh, and that he would murder children, cook their remains, and mix them into his popular sausage meat. His crimes were eventually discovered when a customer found a small finger in their meal. As punishment, Biasio was executed, and his house and shop were torn down. The story goes on to say that the ground where his shop stood was considered cursed, and it was on this very spot that the city later built the Prigioni Nuove, the new prison, next to the Bridge of Sighs, a grim monument on top of an even grimmer legend. In the 17th century, a silent and deadly threat haunted the wealthy families of Italy, a notorious poison known as acqua tofana. It was a colorless, tasteless and odorless concoction, a perfect tool for discreet murder. The poison was a slow-acting blend of arsenic, and its invention is often credited to a woman named Giulia Tofana, who may have operated out of Venice. She supposedly sold this poison, disguised as a cosmetic or a devotional liquid, primarily to women who wished to be free of their husbands. A few drops in a glass of wine over several days would produce symptoms that mimicked a natural illness, allowing the wife to become a wealthy and unsuspected widow. It was a dark and secret trade, a chemical weapon in domestic wars, a story of female empowerment through the most sinister of means, sold in a delicate glass vial. Our walk through Venice is coming to an end. Wherever you've drifted to, you don't need to come back. There's nothing more to listen for tonight. Sleep well.